The Hungry Jacks NBL is back bigger and better than ever. In this special edition of Slam, we'll preview NBL22, bringing you all the latest news and transfers from one of the most eventful off-seasons in league history. Andrew Gaze, Liam Santamaria and Pete Hooley will break down the new coaches, new imports and the latest wave of next stars. And of course, there's a brand new team as Tasmania makes a long-awaited return to the Hungry Jacks NBL. One thing's for certain, the action is going to be next level.
NBL22, next level.
We start with the newest addition to the Hungry Jacks NBL family. Welcome to the Tasmania Jack Jumpers, who become the league's 10th team for NBL 22. It's an exciting new era for the sports-mad Apple Isle as basketball in Australia continues to go from strength to strength.
I think it's fantastic that we've got another team in the competition. We need to take the game to the people, and that's what the NBL is doing in expanding and going into a state like Tasmania, and the way in which that can provide opportunities not just for other players to play, but to grow the game in a state that's renowned for being basketball lovers.
The head coach for the brand new franchise is a critical appointment. And the Jack Jumpers have gone with basketball lifer Scott Roth. He played and coached in the NBA in Europe, and the well-travelled American also knows plenty about Aussie basketball.
He's got massive experience, Scott Roth. He's got NBA coaching experience in Europe. He's been, coached in Asia, part of the Chinese national team coaching staff, and of course with the Perth Wildcats with Trevor Gleeson when they won the championship a couple of seasons ago.
The excitement here is that every day they come in, it's new. Everything we do today is the first time. Tomorrow there'll be another first for us, and so the players are excited to be in market and doing these things. And I think just they know the preparation and the time to build and create our culture is going to be hugely important.
With the coach locked in, the next step was building a roster. There's plenty of local talent on the books with Sam McDaniel, Jack McVeigh and Jared Bairstow quickly snapped up. But things got serious when rising star Will Magnay became a Jack Jumper. The 23-year-old has already had a taste of life in the NBA and is desperate to show he has what it takes to return to the big time.
Will Magnay is a really significant player in our league. Great size, can change games with his rim protection, and his offensive game is evolving. We've seen him in recent times that being able to step out and knock down a three. 3 or 4 years ago, back even when I was coaching, let the big man shoot. If he wants to express himself from the three-point line, all the very best to you. But such is his development that now he's a threat from the perimeter.
Basically, Scott called me and pitched me Tassie, and I was pretty excited to get down here, and with his experience and his knowledge and skill base, he kind of said, I only want you here for a year and then I want you to go away. So that was pretty nice, I guess, for him to say, but I definitely think he can take me to the next level.
The international talent is equally as impressive. Athletic American guard Josh Adams is the Jack Jumpers' first ever import. He's played NBA Summer League and comes directly from winning the Italian Championship for Bologna in 2021.
Josh Adams is an excitement machine. I mean, he's like a Derrick Rose light in the way that he attacks the rim. He's a guy that's going to put bums on seats in Tasmania and around the league. So fascinated to see what kind of impact he can have.
Josh Adams is going to have to come in and show, I'm an import ready to take to the next level. I'm going to have to score, I'm going to have to lead from the front, and I'm going to have to help grow a new culture, it's a tough thing to do. To start a new team culture, let alone a city culture, a state culture, is a very tough thing for an import to do, but got there early enough for pre-season. The team's been together for a long time, so Josh Adams can be that leader.
One Josh was soon followed by another as Josh Majette joined the NBL's newest franchise. The 31-year-old veteran has put up big numbers in the G League and brings exactly the kind of leadership and experience the Jack Jumpers will need in year one.
Josh Majet's an elite point guard, a pure playmaker. He'll be one of the best passers in the league. He'll challenge Scott Machado for the assists title this season. He's a G League legend. Scott Roth promised Will Magnay, I'm going to bring in a great point guard to get you the ball, and he feels like he's got that done with Josh Majet.
I was just really excited to get into the NBL. I know the trajectory of this league and how good it is and how good these teams are and how good the players are that come down here. I follow, like, you know, Scott Machado and Bryce Cotton and those kind of guards that have come here and succeeded, and I respect those guys. I followed their careers and how they've been able to succeed, and, you know, I kind of think I play a similar game, and I think it's going to be beneficial to my style of play, and I'm just excited to get on the court.
So here's the inaugural roster for the Tasmania Jack Jumpers. The American trio of Adams, Majet and McIntosh join Will Magnay as the headliners. There's plenty of local talent as well, and a next star from Russia also is in the mix. The big question now, how will they play?
It's always tough as a new team entering the league, in any sort of professional league, but they have aspirations in the first few years to make a massive impact, and that's going to start with being a really hard-nosed team. And when you're coming from a team that's begging for a pro sport team, they're going to be hard-nosed.
They've got some work to do. I'm not prepared to call that they're going to make the playoffs quite yet, but I am prepared to say that they are going to be highly competitive and have got enough talent to trouble anyone on any given night.
If passion and drive count for anything, the newbies will be just fine. The Hoops Mad fans in Tasmania have waited 25 years to return to the Hungry Jacks NBL. Throw in a revitalised stadium and their game day experience will be as good as anywhere in the league. Fair to say, all eyes will be on MyState Bank Arena in Hobart as the Jack Jumpers host Brisbane in the opening game of NBL 22.
Cairns is an interesting one this year. I think they went in 2 years from being the hunters to the hunted, and they didn't handle it well last year. We saw that, and they really struggled to get out of a hole once they got in one. And they're a team, an organisation, a city that thrives on enjoyment, and we see that through the basketball they play. If they're not having fun out there, they're struggling to get wins.
That showed last season as the Taipans tumbled from a top 4 finish the year before all the way down to bottom on the ladder. Not surprisingly, a change at the top was the result, with Adam Ford taking charge in Cairns for NBL 22.
I think this is a great spot for Adam Ford. He's a kind of like a punch above your weight, underdog type of coach. That's what that club really is. So I think it's a good fit.
While their core roster remains intact, Coach Ford and the Taipans decided a little help at the defensive end was required. Enter 2021 G League champion and lockdown specialist, Tahir McCall.
You need a figurehead to be that defensive leader. Who's going to be that guy? It was DJ Newbill when they made that really good run 2 years ago. Last year they didn't have that, and they lost their defensive identity completely. Scott Machado tried to do it. He tried to do on the offensive end and defensive end, but the NBL is too good of a league to be able to do both. And I love that Adam Ford said that he's a defensive player of the year already. You've got to build the hype around it, which means the team has to make sure that you can't give up 110 points every night if you want your defensive player of the year to get a nomination. So they're going to be defensively tough, and it's going to start with him.
I feel like I put the work in to get better. We'll see when we get on the court, and that's the only way you can tell. But I feel like for me, this is going to be my best year, hands down. And my teammates, just the coaches around me, the feeling, the energy, the way we bond, I just feel like it's going to be a special year.
McCall, Keanu Pinder and Steve Zimmerman headline the new arrivals. They'll team up with 2020 All-NBL first-teamer Scott Machado, Quat Noi and Nate Jawai. The Taipans begin NBL 22 with a tough away trip to the Wildcats.
I like what Adam Ford's been able to do and recruit guys that are long, they're athletic, they can play with size, and with Scott Machado there, who's a bona fide star of our competition, tremendous team leader. He's got some targets that he can distribute the ball to, but I think they have a good chance to get back to where they were the year before and be one of those playoff contenders.
The Taipans aren't the only Queensland team with a new face in charge for NBL 22. With Andre Lamanis off to Japan after 5 years in Brisbane, the Bullets handed over head coach duties to Canadian James Duncan, a former Kings assistant with an impressive international resume.
I'm interested to see how it's going to go. I think he's going to relate well to the players, but the challenge will be those intangibles as a coach that you only get through head coaching experience. You know, like when to hit the button and call that time out. Big opportunity for him, big leap of faith for the Bullets, putting him in that role, and intrigued to see how it'll play out in Brisbane.
Luckily for Duncan, a couple of pivotal members from recent seasons remain in place. US import Lamar Patterson decided to stay in Brisbane for the off-season, sharpening his skills in NBL 1 as he looks to regain a status as one of the league's most unstoppable talents.
Lamar Patterson with a big triple, 35 for the game. Patterson gets it! Oh, wow! Lamar Patterson.
Oh, my goodness. Hope he joined the Lamar Patterson show.
He's got a chip on his shoulder. He came in and said that last year he wasn't happy with himself, and he knows he can play a lot better than that, and it seems like he's prepared better for that.
If he is at his very best, he can turn a okay team into a championship winning team. Really unselfish, but has that self-confidence that in big moments is prepared to step up and make big plays.
And then there's Nathan Sobey, who's ready to take his game to the next level after being part of a moment that all Aussie basketball fans will remember forever. A bronze medal at the Tokyo Olympic Games.
He's now got something to prove. He wants to come in, he wants to be MVP of the league, and he can do that. He impacts the game in so many ways. He's the heart and soul now of the Brisbane Bullets, and when he goes, the Bullets normally follow.
We want to get back to the playoffs. Ultimately, everyone wants to win a championship. That's easy said and done. But to get into that top four isn't easy. So that's the goal that we've got in mind right now.
The Bullets also went large in their off-season recruitment drive. And I mean very large. They picked up the aptly named Chinese international Big Liao. At a commanding 7'5", he'll be the tallest player ever to lace him up in the Hungry Jacks NBL.
When he comes on the floor, you're going to know he's out there because he's going to be an enormous presence around the rim.
Liao, he's an ace up the sleeve, isn't he? He's going to be really tough to scout because you're not sure what you're going to get. But what it's going to be really good for is on the defensive end. It's going to give them a backup presence for the guards to get up and in defensively to really be disruptive, knowing if they get beat, the big fella's there to protect the paint, and he's going to be a tough one to score across.
He pretty much knows where to be on the floor, and he has a personality for sure. And it's fun. Like Big Lou's, he's gonna be the face of the Bullets this season for sure, 100%. But it's gonna be fun having him on the floor.
Liao joins fellow international arrivals Robert Franks and Isaiah Moss from the US, along with European next star Tom Digbo, as the Bullets push for a top 4 spot this season. The Sydney Kings are also part of the NBL's coaching merry-go-round. After missing the playoffs last season, the Kings are turning to a surname that hoops junkies know all too well.
Well, he comes from basketball royalty, really, Chase Buford. I mean, his dad is legendary NBA executive R.C. Buford, who, alongside Greg Popovich, built that San Antonio Spurs organization into an absolute powerhouse. So Chase Buford's been around the game at a high level his whole life. He's about 10 years now into his coaching career, and After spending some time with the Milwaukee Bucks, the Wisconsin Herd there in the G League, he's going to bring a different style to the Kings. He believes in positionless basketball. He's going to have 5 guys all facing the rim, draw the big guys out of the paint, and pace and space. So it's an interesting signing for the Kings, and it's going to be interesting to see how much success he can have right out of the gate in the NBL.
Following the Sydney tradition of having high-scoring imports, the NBL22 edition of the Kings is turning to American Jalen Adams. The 25-year-old guard has put up massive numbers in the G League and had stints with the Atlanta Hawks, Portland Trail Blazers and Milwaukee Bucks.
Jalen Adams has the potential to be like an all-NBL first-team type performer. I mean, he has that kind of talent. He's an NBA guy.
He's going to be a real motor for that Kings organisation, and when he steps on the floor, you know good things are going to happen. And again, we talk about guys setting the tone. I think he's going to be one of those, and on the offensive end, it's going to be super exciting to see him play.
He's an elite playmaker. He can score, can distribute, so I think he is a chance to have a big, big impact on the league this season.
It's going to be fun, for sure. That's all I'm really trying to get out of it, is have a good year, win as many games as possible. And it's good people. I really like being around them, enjoy being on the court with them, and hope that we could just grow together this season.
Like Adams, former NBA first-round pick RJ Hunter also played under Buford in the big leagues, and he's followed his former coach down under. The high-scoring duo joined versatile big man Jarrell Martin to give the Kings a potent trio of imports, especially if J-Mark can pick up where he left off last season.
Here's Martin wide open. Great reply. Martin fades over Johnson and gets it done. Where throws it up? Martin throws it down.
Thing that we saw bits and pieces of that you get excited about is his ability to put the ball on the floor. You got this guy, 6'10", running around that can post someone up, shoot a 3, but now can come in and shake and bake off the dribble. That is very, very hard to defend in a one-on-one situation. I like him, and if he's playing to his best, the Sydney Kings are going to be very hard to beat.
I definitely got some things to prove this year. I feel like we have a chip on our shoulder this year, and we're definitely ready to get some basketball going. I can't just wait to get started.
The Kings seem to start every season with plenty of glitz, glamour and sky-high expectations. But with a loaded roster and a coach who grew up around one of the great NBA franchises, could this be the year that Sydney breaks the drought, winning their first Hungry Jacks NBL championship since 2005. 2021 saw one of the greatest turnarounds in NBL history from the Illawarra Hawks as Master Coach Brian Goorjian once again weaved his magic.
For the first time since 2017, the Illawarra Hawks are playoffs bound. Illawarra have taken down Perth in Perth.
Brian Goorjian's contribution to the NBL over decades has been nothing short of phenomenal. It's quite extraordinary when you look at the impact that he has on player development. He's able to get guys to come in, buy into a system, always have a really high work ethic, and play together.
We really found our groove kind of late in the year, which helped us propel. I think we won the last, 10 out of 11 games, so that kind of helped us get to that last playoff spot, which was huge for us, huge for the city, and hopefully we can keep building on that this year.
Tyler Harvey was a huge part of that unexpected run, so it was no surprise the Hawks snapped him up for another 3 years. The sharpshooting American set a new record for the most threes during a season. His reward, all NBL first-team honours.
Tyler Harvey was a sensation, and I think that a lot of his success is because he's an elite player. He can shoot it from anywhere on the floor. When he steps over the halfway line, you've got to guard him.
We're a really close team, and I think that's what separates us from a lot of teams. We're really, really close. We all love being around each other, which is big, and we're not afraid to say something to each other if we see something out there, which is good. You need that if you want to win. So, we're really looking forward to just putting it all together this year and going for it.
In a massive boost ahead of NBL22, the Hawks signed Aussie boomer Duop Reeve. A member of the Gorgon coach team that won bronze in Tokyo, the multi-skilled big man is set to take the league by storm.
Big guy, 6'11", can shoot the three, block shots, has played the last couple of years in Serbia, done really well playing in the Euro League. So it's a big get for Illawarra, and it fits their roster well because it can enable Sam Froling to play a little bit at the power forward. He's got that big star at the centre spot, and that's a big signing for them.
So this year, I just think that, it's the right time for me to come home, especially playing under Gorge and the team that we got this year, the players that are coming back. I think that we got a pretty good chance to do something special and just try to be the best team that we could be.
Justinian Jessup returns for the second season of his Next Stars contract. Drafted by the Golden State Warriors in 2020, the 23-year-old is looking to build on his impressive rookie year in the Hungry Jacks NBL.
When Justinian Jessup was rolling, everything opened up for the Hawks. Everything opened up for Sam Froling. AJ Ogilvie could come in and have an impact. So I think they just need that other scoring impact guard to take pressure off Tyler Harvey and off the scoreboard. And besides that, their defense is going to be pretty solid because Gorge won't let them be anything other than solid on the defensive end.
Antonius Cleveland and Xavier Wrathan-Mays join Reith as the new faces for Illawarra. Throw in their MVP calibre guard and one of the greatest coaches in the history of the league, and anything is possible for the Hawks heading into NBL 22.
They had some kind of holes in their team last year. They weren't a very good offensive team, elite defensively. And if they can kind of turn that around, that's a team that's a genuine championship contender.
He's building a really nice culture for the Hawks, and I'm really excited to see what they do in his second year at the helm. He doesn't take a step backwards, so watch out for the Illawarra Hawks.
Since their inception, the Phoenix have been on the rise. In just their second season, South East Melbourne qualified for the playoffs and made a serious run at the grand final. As Simon Mitchell and his troops head into this campaign, the expectations are high that this is the year they go all the way.
He's hungry, Simon Mitchell. And I think he's got a sour taste in his mouth to how things ended last season. They should have won Game 3 of the semi-final series. So I got the sense, speaking with Simon Mitchell, that he's hungry, that team's hungry, and they can't wait for the season to get started.
Point guard play has always been an important part of the team's success in the Hungry Jacks NBL. 2022 will be no different, with South East Melbourne handing over control of their team to stud import Xavier Mumford.
He's been a 20-point sort of scoring guy in the G League over the course of his time, can score on or off the ball, so they have that versatility. They can play Kyle Adnam or Isaiah Liafa at the 1, Mumford at the 2. And I think he's flying a little under the radar as a guy that's going to come in here and have a big impact. So good signing for the Phoenix, and he's their star import point guard that they needed.
The other significant addition to the Phoenix roster this season is China's Zhou Qin. The 7-1 import is expected to start at centre, and given his NBA pedigree, big things are expected of the former member of the Houston Rockets.
Big 7-footer and an elite shot blocker, which is something the Phoenix haven't had at any stage in their existence so far. How's he going to transition to the NBL style of game? People are going to bump him and grind him and make things tough. But if he settles in well, it's going to be massive for the Phoenix.
He's an NBA player.
Like, shoots threes, can play off DHOs, can be a handling big, you know, is physical, has dog in him. Like, great guy, the league's going to love him, you know, the players love him, you know, other teams are going to hate him, but I'm glad he's on our team, that's for sure.
With their new imports joining an impressive core, the likes of Mitch Creek, Cam Glidden, Carl Adnam and Ryan Brokoff, continuity will definitely be an early season advantage for the Phoenix in NBL 22.
I think they've built spectacularly, the Phoenix, over their first couple of years. I mean, really, it's the blueprint for how you want to build an expansion franchise. They made a bit of a splash right out of the gate. Things tailed off a little bit in that inaugural season, but then to make the finals in your second year of existence is a great result. So, great build for them so far, and now the challenge is to go another step, make the grand final, go close, if not win a championship, and it'll put the cherry on the top of what's been a really great build for them so far.
The Breakers pride themselves on building their culture around the best New Zealand basketball has to offer. So it's fair to say that coach Dan Shamir is delighted to have Yanni Wetzel back on home soil for NBL 22.
Yanni Wetzel, I think, is going to be a big part of what they do. Runs the floor, can protect the rim, really good athlete, and his perimeter game and his offense is really evolving. And perhaps we've seen with his technique that it's not beyond him to even think that he's a three-point threat.
The Kiwis are also looking for some international assistance with the signing of US point guard Peyton Siva. The Breakers last made the playoffs in 2018, so they're hoping the 31-year-old veteran can help the proud franchise add to its rich championship history.
I mean, this is a guy who, if he can click with his teammates there at the Breakers, he's an MVP caliber kind of guy.
For those who know him, know he's coming in with incredible rap, that guy can really impact every single facet of the game. Love the roster that the Breakers have put together, and I think he's going to have a big part of that.
This year, I'm looking forward to just getting out there and playing. Heard it's a pretty fast-paced league, a lot of talented guys, a lot of talented guards this year. So the main thing is just try to go out there and get some wins for us and compete.
The Breakers have rounded out the international flavour of their roster with a pair of French youngsters. If they successfully adjust to life in the Southern Hemisphere, 20-year-old Hugo Besson and 18-year-old Osman Dieng could be the X-factors for New Zealand. Dieng in particular will draw plenty of attention from NBA scouts ahead of the 2022 draft.
Yeah, he's got incredible upside, Dieng, 18-year-old, 6'10" wing who can make plays off the dribble, shoot it, has a silky smooth athletic game. So if they can put him in the right spots, the Breakers, he's a chance to blow up this season.
Yeah, Hugo's just a baller, man. He can just play. He's got that natural sort of scorer's instinct, and again, like Usman, like just a really good feel for the game. Yeah, whilst he's young, it just seems like he's been playing forever. He's fun to play with, man.
Yanni Wetzel joins a strong hometown core of Finn Delaney, Tom Abercrombie and Rob Lowe. Add in their international arrivals and the Breakers are set to make some serious waves. The team begin NBL 22 with a long stint in Australia before hopefully returning across the Tasman for the second half of the season. Championship experience is one of those intangibles that every franchise in the NBL knows can make a huge difference to a team's fortunes. So the recruitment of NBL champion Mitch McCarron has set the Adelaide 36ers on the path to success for the upcoming season.
Played away, McCarron, beautiful. McCarron, no look dive for Bubba.
Was beautiful, pass on point. Of course, money-making Mitch McCarron.
Mitch McCarron was one of the biggest signings in the off-season. They would envisage him being one of those players that can take him to be from that middle-tier type team to a championship contender.
I wanted to be a part of trying to build a winning culture as well, and that was really part of the pitch from Adelaide, is that, you know, we want someone to come in and help lead that and help shift our culture to be a title contender consistently. And yeah, I'm just happy to be a part of the group now and trying to change that.
Despite the global interest to gain his services, teenage sensation Kai Soto is also headed to Adelaide for NBL 22. At just 19 years of age, the 7'3" centre is considered Asia's next big thing in basketball as he looks to become the first Filipino drafted into the NBA.
I've heard from everybody that the NBL is a great competition. You're going to play against grown men and really experienced basketball players. You know, just playing for the NBL, I think it's going to be huge for me to help myself see where I'm at and just to develop to reach my goal. Yeah.
It's going to be a bit of a challenge for him, the physicality, the size, the strength, the quickness of the NBL. But he's got some tools. He can pass it, he can shoot it, pretty mobile for a guy that big. So I think the Adelaide fans should be excited about what he might be able to bring.
Another teenager looking to break into the NBA is Mojave King. The 19-year-old showed glimpses of his potential last year with the Taipans. He's hoping a next-level season with the 36ers will get him drafted.
He's an incredible athlete. He can get on the rim, great rebounder, but that all is going to come with playing with confidence. And I think he's gone to a great situation now. He's going to learn from one of the best point guards in Australia, Mitch McCarron, and I think CJ Bruton's going to basically tell him when you're on the court, it's your time to shine. And he knows now he's got a second chance, hasn't he?
CJ Bruton was a finals MVP point guard and a proven winner during his glittering playing career. The next step in his basketball journey is to succeed as head coach of the 36ers after serving his apprenticeship under Andre Lamanis at the Brisbane Bullets.
Well, coaching situation in Adelaide's been tumultuous and fascinated to see what he's going to be able to do. I mean, he was a champion player, 6-time champion as a player, a highly regarded assistant coach, and now he gets his opportunity to lead an NBL team. And he's got some pieces with the 36ers, so fascinated to see how they're going to go.
Bruton inherits an Adelaide roster brimming with promise, led by the seemingly ageless captain Daniel Johnson. The rookie head coach is certainly being thrown into the fire first up as the 36ers face a matchup with bitter rivals, the Perth Wildcats, in Week 1. It's a new era for basketball in the West. After Trevor Gleeson was promoted to the NBA, the Perth Wildcats named Boston Celtics assistant Scott Morrison as the next man to take charge of the NBL's most successful franchise.
Comes in with good experience at the pro level and he's keen to get back to running his own team. So big recruit from the Perth Wildcats. Another leap of faith because usually it's Australians who win the title in the NBL as a head coach. It's very unusual for an American to come in here and have that kind of success, but there's a few teams around the league that are going down that route right now, and Perth are one of them. But he certainly brings a lot of experience and good pedigree to the role.
Morrison wasted no time in making his mark. He signed free agent small forward Vic Law just days after being appointed. The Wildcats will be looking to avenge their loss in the 2021 Grand Final and extend their record number of championships to 11.
Great signing, Vic Law. Pretty much the perfect guy for them to sign in that power forward position. It's going to work perfectly, I think, with Bryce Cotton, because if you double Bryce Cotton, you're going to leave someone open, and you better not let that be Vic Law. And last year for the Bullets, Vic Law got double-teamed a lot, especially when he made his way into the post. And you can't do that with Bryce Cotton on the perimeter there for the Wildcats. So I think those guys are going to enjoy playing together.
I am excited to finally be a part of the team because I think I only make them better. And as a unit, we'll be really tough to play against this year. If I get 3 shots or if I get 20, the only thing I'm worried about is going 20 for 20 or going 3 for 3 and helping the Perth Wildcats win the game.
And hearing the name Bryce Cotton might just be the best news of all for hoops heads in the West. The three-time MVP is back, fully fit and ready to once again wreak havoc in the Hungry Jacks NBL.
Cotton for three. Yes! Goodness. He just keeps delivering late in games. He steps back for the three. Oh, baby, that's good. Steps back for three. One more time. Bryce Cotton. He's coming here like a wrecking ball.
Bryce Cotton is one of my favourite players. The way in which that he plays with such passion, with both with the ball and without the ball. And some people saying, oh, maybe he's getting a little bit older, blah, blah, blah. He got plenty left in the tank, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him continue because there's really not too many more better looking sights than seeing Bryce Cotton in full flow in the zone, seeing the rim like a hula hoop and just knocking down shots a la Steph Curry. It's one of the beauties of our game, and hopefully we see much more of it from Bryce this season.
I think for me, I'm just so excited that I'm healthy again and able to play. You always have to have that mentality. There's areas you want to sharpen up on. At this point, you know, in my career, the type of player I am is who I am, so I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel, but what I do, I just try to enhance that each and every year.
In addition to having one of the greatest players in league history on the books, the Wildcats culture is another reason often given for the team's unparalleled success. The re-signing of Mitch Norton ahead of NBL22 ensures that that culture remains intact going forward.
Mitch Norton has now really put himself on the map as the heart and soul of the Perth Wildcats. I thought he should have been Defensive Player of the Year. Just what he does defensively is not like what we often see with Defensive Player of the Years in terms of blocks, steals. He really clamps guys down. He makes nights really tough for a lot of guys, and I think he is, besides Bryce Cotton, but he is the most important player on the Perth Wildcats roster.
It's a record that almost defies explanation. The Perth Wildcats have made the NBL playoffs every single year since 1987. So, despite having a new coach and a number of new faces, it would be a very brave basketball fan that would tip against them continuing that remarkable streak in NBL 22.
Champions. Their second championship in 4 years. They built a team to win a title, and that's exactly what they've done.
After winning the Hungry Jacks NBL title in 2021, Melbourne United head into this season with a target on their back. Several key departures will make life interesting for coach Dean Vickerman, but the arrival of homegrown NBA champion and Boomers veteran Matthew Dellavedova will certainly help the cause.
One of the elite defenders in the world. We saw what Dellavedova was able to do a few years ago with the Cleveland Cavaliers on the biggest stage of them all in an NBA championship series, and he's able to contribute at that level. Huge coup for Melbourne United and the NBL to have a player of Matthew Dellavedova back in our league, but it will bring about a different look now to their team. So he, on the defensive end, is one of those players that is so versatile, which makes him such a huge asset. But the other thing that I think he does well is run a team. He distributes the ball well, really high basketball IQ. I don't think he's the sort of guy we're going to see him come out and drop 30. But what he'll do is he'll still be able to contribute in ways that, on occasions, are even more significant than dropping 30.
19-year-old Ariel Huck-Porty is one of the most intriguing signings of the off-season for United. The German sensation won the MVP at the NBA's Basketball Without Borders competition ahead of Australia's own Josh Giddey. And he's on the radar of NBA scouts heading into next year's draft.
Dean Vickerman's going to be looking for someone who can bang bodies down low. No Jock Landale. We know Joe Lawala-Chul is going to take another step up because that's a man who's not short on confidence. That man wants to be in the NBA and believes he should be in the NBA. So he's going to get the opportunity to be their go-to guy as a big, but I think Ariel's going to come in and have a big impact. And again, next stars are incredible around the league. I think he's going to be one of the shining lights, and I can't wait to see what United fans think of him after the first few games.
Melbourne with a chance to take the lead. 3-ball from CG43. Golding for the Bunnings logo. My goodness.
Porty will have plenty of veteran support in his corner in his rookie season, headed by Melbourne captain Chris Golding. Fresh off a career-defining bronze medal at the Olympics, CG43 is ready to assume a bigger offensive role for his new-look team.
Chris Golding this year, I think, is the guy. I mean, he's always been that guy for Melbourne United, but this year more so than ever, he's their #1 offensive guy. And he's a game breaker. When Chris Golding's going and breaks a game open, teams don't often come back for that. So I think with Delhi running the show, finding him a lot of plays will be run for him. We're going to see a really attacking mindset from Chris Golding, more so than usual, which is crazy to say.
Going back-to-back is always tough. But with names like Golding, Newley and Lawala-Chul, joined by a 499-game NBA veteran who wants more championship hardware, the rest of the Hungry Jacks NBL knows wrestling the trophy away from Melbourne United is going to be a very big ask.
I think they've recruited really good character guys this year, and they're a really tough team to beat, and they're going to try and really make sure that they use that as their identity. That comes with defense. When Delhi's up and going, it's going to really change the way that the whole league is played because everyone else has to lift to his level. So if you're a point guard coming in against Melbourne United, you're going to have your work cut out for you.
After an unprecedented number of new coaches, new imports and new arrivals, it is anybody's guess as to what will happen in this season of the Hungry Jacks NBL. That makes it must-see TV, no matter where you are in the world.
I think the NBL's going to the next level this season because it's gone global. The European influence on the league this season is exciting for me. All those European next stars, Mick Hazlovsky in Tasmania, Huck Porty in Melbourne United, the French kids over there in New Zealand. There's European influence now right across the league, and that's something we haven't seen in the NBL really before.
The reach now for the NBL is extraordinary. We look at it, it's worldwide. Everybody knows what the NBL is. It is an incredible league, one of the best leagues outside the NBA, and is a legitimate pathway to the NBA.
I don't know a league in the world, based on the way in which we see the talent dispersed throughout the NBL, has the level of uncertainty of outcome than this league has.
Everything's going to go to a new level, and I can't remember an NBL season that's so wide open. I think we've got legitimately 10 teams that are going to be vying for final spots, which we haven't been able to say. If you ask me what teams are guaranteed a final spot, you can't do it. This year's going to be too close, and I can't wait to see who holds the trophy at the end of it.
So, can the Tasmania Jack Jumpers defy all the odds and make the finals in year one? Will Melbourne United go back-to-back? Can the Sydney Kings finally reign supreme? Or will the Wildcats once again lead the way? There's only one way to find out, and the best news of all is round 1 of NBL22 is right around the corner. From me, Joe Healy, and the rest of the NBL team, it's goodbye for now. See you next time on NBL Slam.
That's a wrap. Cut.